My surgery on my hand has been postponed, so I have a slew of videos ready to be released, which allows me time to do the live today. Okay, so let's get started. So our color scheme this month, coming in April, one of them, and I'll probably do two, is Hooker's Green and Deep Violet. Now, there's a lot of people who, say, oh, I don't have that exact purple. Now, these are two of my favorite colors, and I use them a lot, which is why they're showing up on the color schemes. But if you don't have those colors, you can mix them. If you have a bright green, if you have dioxazine, a dark purple, and a magenta and black, we can mix something very close to either of these. So we're just going to do that quickly because actually I'm just going to show it to you because instead of taking time. So here's dioxazine purple, and this is magenta right there. So if you have those two colors, when you mix them together, pretty much 50-50, you will get this color right here. This is deep violet. This is the one that I mixed with these two. And if I added a little more magenta, I'd get it even closer. So you can get a deep violet by mixing dioxazine purple or a dark purple and a magenta. So you can get that color, that deep violet color, by mixing those two colors. Now, on the other side, this is Hooker's Green right here. Out of the tube. It's kind of a mossy green, but if you don't have that, you can mix light green. This is this green, light green permanent, which is here, with a little bit of black. Here's a little bit more. You get a mossy green, and here we get, as you can see, it's pretty close. So that's very, very little bit of black. Okay, so use what you have. Use a purple, use a green, and go from there. So I am going to do I think I'm going to do a masterboard, maybe, and a page. Now, a masterboard is simply on a sheet of paper, whatever size that you want. And the purpose of doing that is that you're going to use it maybe in several places. And you can cut it up. It can become a background. It can become an ATC. Now today I am just going to do my masterboard on a floor pad. It's a big piece of paper and it's lightweight. I'm doing it on a lightweight paper because I don't want the weight of it. If I use it in part on my page, I don't want that thickness. So we're going to do that. And I thought we would do the color scheme in a couple different ways. And I tried not to get too busy. So one of the ways we're going to do it is start by collaging. And I pulled different things, magazine clippings that might be focal points, that might be, that have that color in them, just to get going, start thinking about the colors. Something like this, magazine pages, you've got that kind of green, and I'm not too worried if it's not exactly that green. So I just pulled that out. So I have those at the ready. And I can use some of that as collage papers. I also pulled out my gel prints, my little small gel prints that are in here, and some papers here that I'm going to use to collage down. Now, the reason I'm using these collage papers at this stage, when you start a page, that gives you your direction. It, you know, when you talk about breaking the blank page, it really could get you going. So if you have a hard time getting going, so we're just going to start this, and I'm going to pull some of these littler pieces because we all have them, right? Put up your hands if you have these little pieces, and I want to use these up. So got some black in here. And you can see the little pieces that I have. With my computers in here, I have a bit of a disaster. Now I'm going to glue everything down with my liquid matte medium. This is fluid medium, not gel medium. I used gel medium for a long time and loved it and didn't like this, but I've come back to this now. Now here's the professional model, but they do have a Liquitex Basic, which is somewhat cheaper than this. So, but if you buy in quantity, you can get that done. So I'm going to basically lay down the color. And I do not have a plan. I just want to get that color down there. And I'm going to glue this one on here since I have borders. And I also have my purples, so I'm going to put some of the purple down here as well. So these are just the little bits. And we're just getting started. That's, you know, you put it down. Some of this we're going to see later on. Some of it we may not. And I'm okay with that. You know, I didn't get collaging. Hello, everybody that just came in. Oh, we got Wales. Good. Thank you. So glad you could join. I hope everybody is keeping well. Now, when you're doing a masterboard, I'm doing a page here, so I'm a little thinking about composition, but I'm trying not to. I'm not going to, in all likelihood, we're not going to have time to finish today. So I'm not going to worry about composition. I'm not going to worry about what I'm going to put. So I'm just going to glue that down. And with the collage papers, I like using things that are on deli paper, things that are on coffee filters, different things that are on mixed media paper, what have you. Now, if we mix these two colors, if we mix Hooker's Green and Deep Violet, we're going to get this ugly brown color. And I know that because in my little book, and I have that video where we started this book to color mix, I don't want that color on the page. It may turn a little bit more brown depending. So I'm avoiding mixing these two colors wet on wet because I know they're going to make that color. So one way to avoid that is to simply use collage papers. Use papers that have those colors, but you're not doing wet on wet, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you were doing a masterboard, you don't have to worry about composition at all because you don't know how you're going to end up using it. And you have that freedom, which can free up your mind. It's an unexpected combination, but it is one that you see a lot in kind of vintage and in nature. I've got a picture of a magnolia tree that has these colors. You're just laying this on. Don't be worried about, I like to I try not to introduce too many, but you're going to get those patterns. Some of the patterns and the details that are here are what's going to show up. And sometimes you get unexpected things when you just go for it without worrying about the end result. You just want the textures, you want the patterns. When we're setting up a page or a masterboard, we want color, pattern, texture, and layers. Oops. Actually, instead of introducing another one, I'm just going to do more of the same. Sometimes if I'm getting too precise or worried about, is this perfect? Is this, I actually, even out loud, and that's when I do voiceovers on my videos, just tell myself, Karen, just do it. Put it down. Like, stop fussing, stop mussing. Now, I'm not trying to necessarily fill the entire page with this. I could have used this. If you don't have collage papers to use, you can use magazines from a catalog. You can put that down. This is a quick way. This is also a great way if you are, traveling. You can have your papers and put things down, and you don't have to worry so much about the mess or taking everything, all the patterns and all the stencils with you, because you already have some of that. Now, because this is live, we have to, stop to do things like dry. that gets all cut out of the video. How many people here have done the color scheme challenge from any of the ones that have been there? Possible. Love that. Like every time you do it with the color scheme, you know, you're going to end up with something different. There's no guarantee that it's going to be exactly the same every time. So I'm just going to take this off to the side, and that one we started with collage. One of the questions that I get on my YouTube channel a lot is, you know, do you have to follow that certain order? And absolutely not. You do not have to follow that order. So now we're going to start with color instead. And I'm going to put color on with my brayer. It's something that I've done a little bit of and I like the look, but haven't really played with that. Now, again, we want to avoid getting mud, so that's possible. So I'm just going to put that on. Now, this is the Ranger one, and it's small, and I bought it for basically for using on my art journal pages, because my Speedball one is 4-inch, 4.5-inch, and it was just too big on the pages, I found. This one cleans so well. So I apologize for the noise here. And I've got my sheet taped down. Normally I would be removing this, putting it back, you know, turning the page. So you want to go up and down or side to side. And I'm letting that dry. So this is a good way with the brayer, if you're having colors that you know are going to make mud. You can avoid that by using that brayer and giving it just a little bit of time. It pretty much goes on dry. Now, when you're using the brayer, usually I find that you definitely get that ugly stage. Normally, I put my silicone mat underneath. It did not allow for that on this one. Now I'm going to use white in here because remember with the color scheme challenge you can use white. Now you can also use white and black to mix with the colors to get different tones. So you could have the deep violet and neutralize it. So again, this is the first layer. In all likelihood, with mixed media, if you don't like the layer, you gotta I don't have the proper way of getting this on my brayer, so it's not coming off. I'm just going to take a minute and put some of my papers and everything away because I've got everything out. Too much. With the color scheme, this is the page that I did. There will be a video going out Friday. So you can see that color scheme on here. So that one you can stay tuned for. You want a little more purple, then you go in. And after the white, it's kind of knock that green back. So using the brayer is something, again, that I'm trying to challenge myself with. Use more. Bring that into my art. I don't want as much green on here. So you can see I started with the green, but the other colors Now this paper is a very lightweight paper and really haven't tested it out, so I don't know how it's going to behave. But I'm liking that as the background. So I'm going to give this a dry. So we have one page here. We've used collage sheets. And there we've used the paint, but we're using the brayer. Everybody's very quiet. If you are doing this color challenge while we're doing this together, or you're going to do it afterwards, please post it in the group share with other people. Everybody loves to see everybody else's work, and it encourages other people to give it a try. They see things in a different way, and now and I seem to have lost everything. So I printed off, I downloaded a Japanese font from defonts.com. And I just downloaded it, and I just typed out, basically I typed our alphabet. So I hope this doesn't say anything inappropriate. It could be upside down. But I like the pattern of it. So I'm now going to glue this on. So just to prove that, you know, the order you can change. You're going to get a slightly different look every time with a different order. But play with it and see what works more for you. In there. How many of you have seen some of my napkin videos? It does get easier tearing apart those napkins, cutting apart, you know, using the water brush, everything. It does get a whole lot easier. Now I want to get some texture. Problem with this is on my workspace. Good, Deborah. I'm glad that you are creating along with me. Now I did put away Yeah, we'll put some of this down. There are no rules, and you know, so I definitely have no real plan with this other than just to create and throw down color. And sometimes, you know, that's what we need to do. Escape the world and be open to whatever possibilities that we can. I'm just going to flip that up. Of course, Now with this one, I am going to take some gesso and just put it in between. Can knock back what you don't like, soften the edges. And then when you add more layers, I don't like this solid green on here, so I'm just gonna and if I stop talking, that's because I'm in the creative zone, right? You can always wipe down, get the color back if you took something too much out. Okay, so now that needs to dry. Now we want to add some more pattern. Onto here. I'm going to try putting some thicker gesso. This gesso has just, I guess it's older, and so it's a little thicker, thinner than modeling paste. And of course that's got 2. Maybe not the greatest pattern. But it is going to add texture, so we may not be getting a lot of distinction. It's one thing that I've had to recently let go of is, you know, that idea that everything has to be so perfect. Yeah, they're not showing up. That comment is, Barbara, the last one about your problem, but nothing, I haven't seen any others. But sometimes there's lags and delays and, you know, technology, for all the wonderfulness that it can be the most frustrating as well. If you put gesso on stencils, I always take time to clean the gesso off. I find it's harder if you let it completely dry. I don't worry so much if it was acrylic paint. I don't worry. Now, I did have a stencil out here that I wanted to use, and it has disappeared, of course. So I'm kind of liking this right now, even if it as a background for a page. Oh, I can't believe I can't find that stencil. Oh, there it is. So again, we are going to dry. So which one are you liking better? The one that is basically a masterboard, or the one that's in the art journal? Oh, good. Aren't you glad you don't have to worry about my drying time when I'm doing the videos? All of that gets nicely edited away. So this is, you know, we can't really see too much just yet, but I want to add some pattern, some detailing to this. I want to add a little bit more of the deep violet get some interest going here, see if I can start spurring on my creativity. Usually at some point in time when I'm creating, it gets to that point where it's like, yes, now I know what I'm doing. It's like finally everything comes together and it gives me a direction. And I just simply keep layering until it gets to that point. So I dug out some of the newer stencils from the Crafters Workshop, ones I may not have used a whole lot. This one's called Geo Netting. And because I've put gesso on there and it's white, the color is popping a little bit more than it would otherwise. Oops. I'm going to use black here. And my laptop, I lost you guys. This one is Number Scramble, and I want to introduce some contrast to this page. Every page needs contrast, and that's what white and black often do for a page. I think we may... Okay, I'm not sure if we are live anymore. Oh, it's taking its time. Definitely not. So... We're live? Okay. On my screen, it's stuck on way before, so I have no idea what you are seeing. Sorry. Technology. So this page right now, because I put the black on, I want to edge it. I want to see how I have it for composition wise. When I don't know what to do, that's pretty much what I do. Now I'm really mudding the waters here because I'm trying to do 2 pages and going in 2 totally different directions. So I don't encourage you to do that because it's hard to do and it can be very frustrating. Just want to see where the page is going. Not really fond of this. I thought it would be an interesting detail, but it's not where I want it, so I can white that out, right? It can be gone. So I'm going to let this dry, and we are going to bring back the other one. Oh. Okay, I'm having technical difficulties. I'm exiting. And maybe I can join you where you are. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Tanya, I downloaded the Japanese font from dafont.com onto my Word program, and then I just typed it out. So I just printed off a couple different sizes and shapes. And just filled up a whole page. Yes, they are all acrylics. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see me working with acrylic paints because they are permanent. Yeah, I think the Japanese characters are really adding something. So one thing I do with my art journal, I turn the page quite often, and just to see what I like. Now I want to soften these edges a bit. And that's the thing, as art journalers, we're taking wherever we end up, and making that work, whatever the reality is. I think we're going to do some more with this. I have the dots there, even though they're not exactly perfect. And I just want to introduce a few more of these. And I'm kind of covering where some of it's overlapping to get rid of those hard edges. And you can see here, because we're dry on dry and there's no wet paint, we can use these two colors and that it works. This would look lovely with a magnolia on here. Okay, so this is another new one, but I like the pattern in here. Not going to show up because we don't have enough contrast. But we can add a little bit. Yeah, I think the Asian one is really catching my interest right now. It's winning out. Okay. This one's called Ginkgo Leaves. It was one of the ones that I just got, but I have not used it yet. So, and I love the shape of this. Tanya, for the most part, I try not to use too many, or I'll use stencils that are somehow related to each other, that might all be round, or I'll use the stencil and I'll stencil with multiple colors. So instead of introducing that, I've built the layers with using different colors. I tend to limit it. And if you're struggling with stencils, less is more. It's I think we try to do too much, too many techniques, too many, just too much. And I'm turning this stencil. Now I'm scared with the next step because I am wanting to put this stencil with black. That's what my instincts are telling me. But I've had the addition of black go terribly, terribly awry in some of my videos. But you know what? I'm going to be brave. Now, depending if there's gesso underneath or layers, these are all going to look a little bit different. If I was doing this on a page, do some of it off the page. That always makes it more interesting to the viewer. So here, you know, I didn't have an idea for a theme. I pulled out things. And as I got going, it was definitely that Japanese, you know, we've got the ginkgo leaves, we've got, you know, this is coming together quite nicely. And that's what you want. You want to keep doing it till you get that inspiration. Now, you know, people say, well, you know, you're not getting it. And if you haven't put the hours in, I mean, you got to create and create and create. And you get the experience by just doing it. You know, end of the day, this is a piece of paper and some paint, and we're having a good time. So, you know, there's nothing here that's too terribly precious. I don't know what I would be doing with a focal point on that. So, you know, I don't think we'll be finishing this today per se, but that's okay. Nope. Okay, I'm really loving this one. But here we have this one. It just needs more work. Just because I don't love it yet doesn't mean that it's not lovable. And I'm trying to stick clear, stick to my color scheme here. But you know what? We're going to put some white on here. Not sure. And that's okay. That really did nothing here. Just going to knock some of this back. Make room for more layers. Okay, maybe. I'm going to knock that back a little bit. Can't tell a lie, not loving it yet. Not loving it yet. There is always a case of gesso. I think part of the problem is that I'm trying to do two, and I've just divided my thought, my thinking, my inspiration. Or maybe I just don't like it because it's I'm just adding gesso, and then just so I can get more, show up the stenciling that I want to see here. I should stop and read your comments. Anybody got suggestions? No, I'm still not liking it. More purple, leave it. Tanya, I use Canson mixed media. Actually, when I look in the video, I'm liking it better than I am when I look straight on. But it is getting muddy, I agree. Yeah, there was too much black there, but I've knocked that back. somewhat. I'm flipping through my stencils. Oh, I'm looking for one. Oh, there we are. No, I just realized I did that one on this, so I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, and I liked it better with the black numbers. And you know what? Part of the thing is I don't know where this will go. I don't not like it. There's parts of this that I do like. It is busy. I think it's workable, but I'm just looking at the time, and you know, it's we're past an hour, and I wanted to kind of do it for an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'll be finishing these, and I'll post what I do with these. Although I can see this one, you know, is going to probably end up just cut out and put on a page as a background because I absolutely love it. But I'll be searching for a focal point for this one. And it may just end up being a sentiment. And this one, I don't know. We will see. If you have an idea for another live, what you would like to see, what questions you would like to answer in a live, perch them up on my mantle and I'll look at it, and it will come to me. And if not, then there's, like I said, there will be gesso and stuff. But we have two different looks, and you know, they're not all wins for any of us. Okay, so we'll see everybody. I don't know if this is live or what's happened here, but bye for now.